They stood in the study room, staring at each other. Jae-min's gaze remained serious, never lingering away from her while Christy looked so shocked and restless. I asked you a question. What are you doing in my study room? He made a comeback. I was looking for you, sir. She lied. By my bookshelf? At this time? He questioned seriously. The bookshelf looks well arranged, and I mistook the books to stories and wanted to feed my eyes when you came in. She rambled with words, looking so honest even when her words were full of lies. He sighed. You can leave now. I have some work to do. Sir, are you chasing me away? She whispered sadly. Is there something you want? He asked, staring at her. Maybe supper together? Your mum slept so early, eating alone is something I don't like. She sounded so pitiful as she informed him. So, you want me to eat with you? He asked, and she nodded her head almost impatiently. Yes, she whispered. The both of them stood there, staring at each other, affection lingering in the air. Jae-min's thoughts wandered to the information he had gotten earlier. She must truly be lonely. All right, I will have supper with you, is that okay? He said with a warm smile. Thank you so much, Mr. CEO. She said cheerfully. It's Jae-min, he said, and she laughed heartily, staring at him. What was this thing he felt when staring at her? Was it pity or something that shouldn't grow in the first place? It didn't end at just supper. Christy coaxed him into seeing a movie with her and ignoring the fatigue in his eyes. He couldn't say no to her, and for that, he was confused. They sat together, discussing and laughing through the movie. Christy seemed to know all the scenes as she kept exposing them to him even before the movie got to that point. You love movies, huh? He smirked. A lot, especially when watching them with someone. She admitted. Then, she faced him. Jae-min, will you be spending time with me? Eating, watching movies, going out, and whatnot? I promise not to disturb you. She asked him sadly, a kind of weird affection in her eyes. Jae-min suddenly lost his sense of thinking, so intoxicated in her sight. He found himself wanting to do more than those. I will see to it, he whispered, nervously clearing his throat. As soon as his words landed, Christy stole a quick kiss on his chin and he remained stunned, his heart beating in weird rhythm. What was that for? He stuttered. Thank you. That was all she could say, in a happy and loving tone. What was going on? The movie continued until Christy fell asleep on his lap. He couldn't wake her. Rather, he stared at her, losing himself to the moment. Who are you, and why are you making me feel this way? He muttered under his breath while staring at her, her impeccable features radiating in darkness. So beautiful, small lips, calm spirit. Jae-min was lost. His phone suddenly rang, and he picked it up, coughing shortly. Boss, you asked for the code to your safe lock. Chen's voice came through the speaker. Yes, please, send the code to me. I want to revamp the documents. He instructed. A small smirk formed on Christy's lips. Was she not sleeping? The ringing of her phone caused her to jump out of the bed and immediately picked up the call, without checking the caller. Hey bitch. Are you dawdling? We can't promise to keep this little noise safe. The lone boss's annoying voice echoed through the speaker, giving Christy a full wake-up call on hearing his threat. I'm on it, sir. Please, you will hear from me this week, she said sadly. Please, how is my sister due? She hadn't finished her statement when the call ran into a beep and she sighed heavily. Gosh, she couldn't even think straight anymore. Her eyes wandered around, and she noticed that she wasn't in the living room. Did he bring me to my room last night? She beamed, whispering to herself. That noon, Madame Song was seeing a business documentary news when Christy came down. Before she proceeded with anything, she wanted to make sure that the house was empty or everyone was locked and busy. Ma'am, she called out politely as she sat beside Madame Song on the couch. Christy, how are you? She paused. My son told me everything about you. I'm really sorry for your bad past, Madame Lee added. Christy suddenly forgot the reason why she had approached Madame Song. Everything about me? She whispered. Yes, he claimed you told him some things about your little sister. Madame Song intentionally trailed off, hoping to jog Christy's memory. But I wasn't drunk last night. she said with certainty. What do you mean? Madame Song stared at her seriously. Yes, Mr. Jae-min is right. The loan shark men who are after my life took my little sister away. She paused. I know I'm supposed to save her, but I'm too weak to do anything. She added sadly, and Madame Song smirked. Don't worry too much, my dear. I have urged my son to conduct a search for you. In a week or two, there should be news about your sister. Madame Song said. What? You will help me find my sister? She looked taken aback on hearing Madame Song's statement. Yes, and I mean it, Madame Song said, nodding her head. Thank you very much, ma'am. I can't wait to reunite with my little sister again. Christy confessed, almost in tears. So, while we are waiting for good news, how about shopping together? Madame Song asked, wiggling a funny brow, and Christy laughed. Madame Song would always keep a straight, unapproachable font, but she was no doubt sweeter than expected. Because of an urgent business meeting, after their shopping, Madame Song instructed her to return to the mansion alone. Seated on the bed, Christy smiled as she unraveled all she had got from the shopping. Everything screamed luxury. They were designers and very expensive. These were things she had admired at a distance and had never dreamed to own it. But now, they were before her, now hers. It felt like a dream. Madame Song somehow made her happy. Was this what it felt like to be loved? She was expecting Madame Song to scream at her face or force her to leave her son, but what she was receiving was the complete opposite. I love all these. She cringed in excitement, pulling the items closer to herself. A soft knock on the door brought her back to reality. She quickly composed herself and looked at the entrance. Jae-min was standing there, raising a bottle of wine, and she smiled. Having troubles at work? She asked nervously as they sat together in the bar room, drinking. He shook his head. Maybe troubles with emotions? He said rhetorically. She cleared her throat, trying to remain composed. Is there someone CEO Jae-min have feelings for? Why are you relenting when you have everything and is every woman's dream? She said in what sounded like a nervous, loud tone, and he smirked. Do you also dream of having me? He suddenly asked, and Christy choked, looking shocked. What? That? I mean, she stuttered, unable to structure her words. I'm only joking. He said through his laugh, and she nodded. Who am I to dream of you? She whispered sadly under her breath. He heard her but decided to play dumb. He didn't know how he felt, so it was quite difficult to confess his feelings. He drank excessively. He wanted to forget everything and drown in what felt like an illusion, and when he dozed off, Christy spent some minutes fantasizing over his look. He was drop-dead handsome. If it's possible, I would want to have you, but will that be possible after what She stopped talking. Her senses suddenly returned, and she picked up his phone on the table. Somehow, she used his thumb to unlock the phone, and that was how she had access to his homepage. She smiled at the sight of the text message, having the safe lock password, as she quickly snapped it with her phone before leaving him alone in the bar room. She returned to her room, staring at the safe lock password. If she sent this to the lone thugs, they might kill her sister and shade her aside. She must act smart and make sure she wasn't fooled. Hesitation took over her as she laid to sleep. The next morning, Christy walked into the living room and was welcomed by silence. She didn't see anyone, thus she knew it was the best time to sneak out since she had agreed to meet with a lone thug, Mr. One. She attempted to leave when she heard a familiar voice coming from the balcony. Did you find them? It was Jae-min's voice. Keep the little girl safe. I will give Christy a surprise, and as for those thugs, you know how to take care of them. Jae-min said seriously, his hand tucked in his pocket. Was this about her? Was the Song family truly trying to give her an undeserving piece? She looked down on her phone and felt bad for her action. Not just the safe lock code. She had also managed to get a hold of his dollar safe lock, where he saved all his funds and investment documents. These were what the thugs wanted, and as to how they would attain it, she didn't care. Watching Jae-min, trying to protect her, made her self-reflect on her action. She didn't know when he had walked up to her until he placed a hand on her shoulder, which caused her to startle and step away from him. Hey, I have been calling all these while. Are you okay? he asked warmly, and she nervously shook her head. I'm fine. I'm fine, she said as she rushed back to her room. On the hallway, she thought if she should give the codes to the thugs or trust Jae-min on protecting her. Either ways, she felt guilty. Madame Song and Jae-min started noticing Christy's change in demeanor. She rarely came downstairs and hardly spoke to them. They were worried, so the only way to ease her was to hurry with the surprise. That evening, Christy returned from grocery shopping and entered the living room, but everywhere was dark. When the light suddenly came up, she gasped in shock. It was her sister, Priscilla. Big sis. Little sis. They both screamed at the top of their voices as she dropped everything she was holding and grabbed her sister up into a warm, tight embrace. I miss you so much, sis. I thought you left me, Priscilla said through her sniffles. Never,
Christy admitted.
Jae-min and Madame Song watched their reunion in admiration, feeling delighted and also happier that Christy was finally back to the way they knew her. She spun her sister all over, bombarding her with questions about the harmful environment and her weight. Priscilla only smiled and snuggled up over and over again. Thank you very much for bringing my sister back alive, Christy said happily. Whatever will make you happy, I won't relent to make it happen, Jae-min said in what sounded like a whisper. I have something to tell you, Jae-min, Christy stammered nervously. Madame Song understood the mood. She cleared her throat as she faced Priscilla. How about some smoothie for this sweet little angel while we let the adults talk? Madame Song sweetly suggested, and Priscilla nodded. Sure, Auntie.
Priscilla grinned.
You might as well call me mother-in-law soon, or maybe grandma? Madame Song said to herself with a smirk, feeling so happy as she walked out of the living room, holding hands with Priscilla, who looked confused over what she had heard. Is anything the problem, Christy? Jae-min called back her attention. I'm sorry, Jae-min, she began. For what?
He asked.
Actually, she broke down in tears. How do I even start? She said through her sniffles, and he rushed over to her, cleaning the tears off her face. I know, he spilled bluntly, and she looked at him in surprise. What? She muttered. I sent my secretary and some guards over when the thugs' hideout was leaked. They found out we came to rescue your sister, so they spilled the bean. You have been spying on me all this time and sharing some information with them. He meticulously informed her, and Christy's stomach twisted. She didn't know how to explain the feelings brewing inside of her. I'm really sorry. I wouldn't have done it. I didn't want to do it, but I couldn't risk my sister's life, Christy admitted shamefully in tears. I understand, and that is why I'm not taking it out on you,
he said. What?
You. She was still stuttering when he gave her a quick kiss. Yes, I still love you. I still want you, and I still want to be with you, he confessed, and she smirked loudly. I don't believe me. Maybe you want to use me and hurt me in the end because she continued rambling with words when he planted a soft kiss on her lips. This time, it was deep, passionate, filled with unspoken emotions, and left her helplessly breathless. You still think I'm joking with you? I want you badly, he whispered. Then, I have no choice to fall completely because I have been scared as not to encounter an unrequited love. She also confessed, and he laughed. Spy or no spy, there is this warmth in you that I can't ignore and want to keep forever, he said. Same goes for me. I want to keep the sweet side of this icy CO all to myself, she whispered lovingly, and he laughed. Is that a compliment? He asked sarcastically. Take it however you want, she said happily as she began running into the hallway. Come back here. He chased after her, their laughter filling the air. A once cold mansion suddenly bloomed with love.